So, South of Midnight would have to be one of the most controversial games that have come out of this year so far. I say so far because who knows what this year has to offer for us. I mean, we're only in April and we've already had a couple games that have caused a lot of controversies, whether it's for good or for bad. And, you know, like I said, the year is yet to go. It's still far ahead. So, there's a lot to come out. But South of Midnight would have to be one of the most controversial games of this year. And I think that a lot of the controversy surrounding it is kind of a lot of BS. Even though the title of this video is probably going to be like the virtual signaling of South of Midnight is insane, which I definitely agree with, and we'll get more into it as this video goes on. But I definitely think that a lot of the controversies surrounding the game beforehand is a little bit BS, because a lot of people saw that the game had a female black protagonist. A lot of people were just like writing the game off automatically and saying that like, oh, it's going to be terrible, it's going to be shit from the moment it comes out. And like, I'm just like, hey, listen, the game itself, it didn't even look all that bad. Like, it didn't look like the greatest thing since fucking sliced bread. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the game deserves any type of awards. No, it's a $40 game, probably as much as it's worth. And it's probably going to get like a couple thousand players on it. But where the virtual signaling comes in for this game is the criticism that people have for anyone speaking out about this game. And that has got to do with Asmongold. As Asmongold did play this game on his stream, right? And he actually gave this game a fair review. He actually did. He does that with every single game. No matter how much controversy is surrounding the game, no matter how much, even if he's going into the game and he probably has a little bit of bias in his brain, he still tries to remove all of that, and he goes into every single game giving it a favorable review. And even after he played the game for about 4 hours, there's a 4-hour video of him on the game on his YouTube channel that you can go ahead and watch. And after he played it for a few hours on his stream, he says that he gave it about a 6 and a 7 out of 10, which is favorable. I think that that's pretty decent. But at the same time, he went ahead and he gave his criticisms of the game and what he thinks are the reasons why it's not doing so well. Because if you look at the Steam numbers of this game, it's not doing great. It's really not. It's only peaked at 1,400 players, which video games these days, especially this is meant to be like, I don't think this is a AAA like game release. Maybe it is considered under that. I mean, compulsion games and the game being $40, apparently it's not all that long either. I think it can be knocked out in like, what, 8 to 10 hours. But still, there's like at least 50 million is put into this game, and 1,400 concurrent players on Steam. That's not going to be enough in order to make all that money back. And he gave his opinions of the reasons why he thinks that this game isn't going ahead and being favorable to a lot of people, and why a lot of people will look at this game from face value and just not purchase it. And this clip itself made its ways around on Twitter.
Is that they think that they can take a genre that appeals traditionally to men and then shift it to a female protagonist or like a female setting and then expect to maintain their audience. You can't do that. That's just not how it works, right? It's like if you're adding in a character into a video game and like it's an action combat game, if it's a female character, she better have huge tits. And if she doesn't, you're doing something wrong. Like, I'm sorry, because the people that play those games are gooners and guys, and that's what they want to see. You don't give it to them, well, that's fine. They don't give you their money. And this is the problem, is like, as soon...
Now, it's obvious of you watching that clip of the reasons of why it started circulating around Twitter and the reasons why a lot of people didn't like it. But I find it really funny is that there's so many people that were going at Asmongold for this clip that he's taken out of the favorable review. Like I said, he talked about it, and you can go to his video because I'm not going to show it itself on this channel because, like, you know, he goes on for a long period of time talking about how, like, what certain aspects that he likes about the game, certain aspects that he doesn't like about the game. And instead of doing that, where they say, oh, you know, he said this about the game, that this parts of the game is great, but this parts of the game isn't good, and this is the reasons why that it didn't sell well. And I think that with him saying these things about the reasons why the game didn't sell well is right. I mean, he's not wrong. When it comes to the action combat genre that this game is trying to go in, is that a lot of the people who play action combat games like Elden Ring, is that it's people like me. It's just a dude. It's just some dude who wants to play some badass fucking game with like a massive sword. So it's like that's the audience of this game. and it's telling you the reasons why it failed. And then you look at another game with a female protagonist, and that being Stellar Blade, is that did so well. One, because the combat is really good, but also you look at the main character. She's fucking hot. She is extremely hot. And that is one of the reasons, that was one of the selling points of the game. Where you look at South of Midnight, you look at it at face value. And like, you should say that, oh, people shouldn't take things at face value. Well, that's just how it is. Like, I'm not saying that that's a great thing, but that's just how things are. And a lot of people replied to this clip. A lot of people retweeted this clip. You have this one person here saying can't have person of color in Assassin's Creed because of history. I mean, I've talked so many times about the reasons why that was absolutely stupid. Can't have person of color existing IP because of race swapping. Race swapping is absolutely stupid. Of course it is. Can't have person of color in a new IP because there was a silver of a chance the character could have been white. It doesn't matter the conditions. These scum keep moving the goalposts. That's not what Asmon said. He didn't talk about how you can't have a black character. All he said was that you have to make her attractive. There is so many great people of color in video games that are interesting, that are hot, that are really great in their story. I mean, if you want to talk about characters that are interesting, that are not like attractive, you look at Clementine and Lee in the Walking Dead series. That took an existing IP, put people of color into the main role, and that father-daughter relationship in that game was extremely great, and people fucking loved it. You look at CJ in GTA, took an existing IP, made it its own story, put a person of color in the main character for the first time in the GTA series, and it's done extremely well. And a lot of people, including myself, say that San Andreas is the best GTA out there. Then you want to talk about attractive black characters in games. Sheva in Resident Evil 5. I would say Resident Evil 5 itself, like that's when like Resident Evil started to go a little bit too action and not as much horror. You know, it's not as bad as Resident Evil 6. Resident Evil 5, still a solid game. Not as great as like Resident Evil 4 or 2. Still a great game. And Sheva, a lot of people fucking love this character. A lot of people love her in Resident Evil 5. She is a hot character. She's fucking sexy. God damn. Sheva can get it. And people love her so much. So it's just like that argument itself thrown out the fucking window. Another person talking about racism, saying, hey, it's not racism or sexism. We just don't want companies changing our current characters to meet a quota. Create new ones, they said. It's always been about racism and sexism. Anyways, play South of Midnight if you can. I just made great comparisons, and I just pointed out great characters in video games that are people of color, including people of color that are women, that have been really great in past games. So no, it's not about that. And in this one right here would have to be one of the most infamous replies out of all of this, right? Is that this person here, their name is 8-Bit Vixen, right? And they replied saying, why do people like Asmongold continue to have a platform and produce shitty-ass content, racism, sexism, homophobia, etc., and very much still an issue in gaming, no matter how much incels want to say it's not. I will never stop advocating against it and using my platform to speak up. Now, this person had Twitch streamer in their name, and Asmongold actually on his stream looked this person up on their Twitch channel because they say they are a streamer, and they themselves haven't even played South of Midnight. So you were talking about, you're trying to virtual signal that Asmongold is this racism, sexism person who gave the game a spotlight on his channel, gave it a favorable review with this clip taken out of many minutes, like a long time of him actually talking about the game. But you just want to point out about how he's sexist and racist because he talked about the elements that made this game fail. And it's like, it's really insane because if you look at the initial tweet for this and all of its quotes and all of its replies, all of the retweets that every single person has done, there are thousands of people that have interacted with this initial tweet, with the requotes, with the retweets of the retweets, with the retweets of the initial one, with the replies, with the likes, with the views. If every single person who was just like, what Asmon is saying is absurd, or how dare they, go against this person of color in South of Midnight. If every single one of those people kept that energy and bought the game, the company probably wouldn't shut down. But Compulsion Games now, considering that the game is only like reached a peak of 1,400, is probably going to have to shut down because it's not selling well. If you really stand up for what that you're saying. If you really think that what Asmongold, his criticisms of the game is bad, then buy the fucking game. Buy it. Why are you just virtue signaling, talking about what he criticized about the game after he played it and gave it a favorable review? You're going ahead and not playing it? I want to point this out as well of when it comes to like virtual signaling, because I think that this has a massive problem in the gaming industry, and one of the reasons why a lot of like these modern day games that people call them is starting to fail is the community manager of South of Midnight. She currently has her Twitter protected, right? And the reasons for it is because she put out tweets like this. And with me, if you say that you hate gamers, why are you working in that space then? If you don't like gamers, if you don't like the way that gamers are, if you don't like the way that the fact that gamers like, you know, big titty girls in their games, well, don't criticize the gamers. Just don't work in that industry then. I'm studying to be in that industry. And you know what? If I make a game and I think that, oh yes, this game will sell better because I make a main character, a female character with big titties, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with wanting to say that? And what's wrong with wanting to have that in the game? Because people talk about how, oh my god, I love that in Baldur's Gate 3, I can sleep with a fucking bear and I can fuck all these different characters in Baldur's Gate, which I love Baldur's Gate, you know, I really do, but I'm just using this as an example. I think Baldur's Gate, one of the greatest games of all time, 100% agree with that. And I think that that when it comes to, you know, the interactions with the characters, it's just like, this is a game where stuff like this is necessary because it's all about the companionships in the game. It's just like people are fine with that, but then once you ask for a character just to be a bit sexy, then all of a sudden it's a problem, and they're the issue. So to me, that doesn't make sense. And I think that, you know, if all these people who are virtue signaling and calling out Asmongold for his so-called disgusting point of views on South of Midnight are the reasons why that he think that it didn't like spark an interest in this genre, well, if all those people that interacted with these posts online and were talking about it actually bought and played the game, it would probably be doing better. And you know what? I will say, I think the art style of South of Midnight is great. I actually do. I didn't even think the game's that bad. I watched Asmon play it. I think the combat's a bit mid. I really do. I think the combat could have been a lot better, especially for an action combat game. But the art style, I think it looks really great. I do. But yeah, that's going to be it from me. I would definitely like to hear what you guys think about all this down below. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Peace out.